Alright, we want to make some slats on the outside patio area. You can see the bottom of them. Let me get my mouse where I can see it. There we go. So this line across here is where the bottom of them are, and then they come up to this pitched area. So we're just going to draw two to start, and we're going to make sure they're tall enough that they go past the tallest one. And then we're going to use a new tool called Array. So I'm just going to come into my rectangle. I'm going to kind of guesstimate here based on the drawing. And I'm actually going to stop it early just because I want to, if I go too far up, I start drifting this way. So I'm going to stop here. And now that I have the width I want, I'm going to hold Control Shift. I'm going to pick this line. I'm going to say move. And now I'm just going to move it from the midpoint. Whoa. That's not what I wanted. I'm going to hold Shift. Make sure it goes straight. Alright, so now I'm taller than that. Now I'm just going to copy that once. I'm going to say move. I'm going to click this point over to this point. Did I type move instead of copy? Yeah. Alright, so now I'm just going to copy it. Alright, so now I should have two of these, but they're not starting at the edge. Sorry, I am having a hard time seeing my mouse here. There we go. So now I'm going to get both of them. I'm going to type move. I'm just going to drag this corner. And the reason I have main walls on is so that I can snap to that wall. Alright, so I got these. Where are they in my 3D space? I'm guessing they're somewhere way off in the distance. Nope, they're not too bad. Can I see them from here? Alright, they're on this side. So I want to move them just inside this beam. And right now they're over here. So I'm just going to say set point. And then I want to move it in the Y. And so I'm just going to come in and snap to the edge of this. Alright, now they need to become a planar surface. And now I want to extrude them. Extrude surface. So I'm going to pick both of these. I'm going to hit enter. And they're going to come out a whopping 2 inches. And this one is actually staggered. So this one, you go, every other one will be right along here, and then every other one will be a foot this way, but we gotta factor in those 2 inches. So I'm gonna turn my gumball on. And this would be a lot easier if I wasn't in a parking lot with bright sun shining. So I'm gonna say 14 inches. Alright, I have 2. I have them where I want. Before I do an array, I don't want to accidentally grab my curves or my surfaces. So I'm going to use SEL-CRV. I'm going to type hide. SEL-SRF. Hide. And so now I've got these 2, and I want them to come roughly to this last column. And I want to space them the distance of the 2 boards. So I'm going to measure that real quick. I'm just going to do a single board. And that's 1 foot and 3/4. So that means I need to do 2 feet plus 1.5 inches. So 25.5 inches is my distance. I'm gonna start with 30 and see how close we get. I might adjust that number. So I'm gonna start with this thing called array down here, rectangular array. And I'm gonna pick both objects. I'm gonna hit enter. And so everything with array is relative to your coordinate plane in the view you've chosen. So in the view we've chosen, we want them to go left to the right, and that is the x-axis. So it's saying how many in the x direction. I'm going to say 30. How many in the y? Just 1. You can't go less than 1, so just hit enter. Same with z, 1. And I'm going to put in 25.5 inches. And you can see they don't quite come far enough. So now, if that's 30, I'm going to see what 45 looks like. So I'm going to click on number. I'm going to say 45. Now that's too much, right? Whoa, wrong view. So let's try 40. Alright, let's say 1, 2, I'm going to try 36. Oh. Alright, let me try 40 again. My brain or my eyes were not. And we gotta go in between. Let's go with 38. Alright, and when you're happy with it, so right now this is all just preview mode. So you keep going with changing your number until you're happy with it, and then when you are, just hit enter. So now I got all these massive things hanging out going up to that column. So I'm going to switch back to this view. And now these last 2, I'm going to rotate 90 degrees. Although really I want 1 more of these. So I'm going to say copy. And I'm just going to go from here, holding shift, 25.5 inches. There we go. So now I'll rotate this one 90 and this one 90. And now I'm just going to move them both at the same time. So that I'm inside the beam. So now we need to do another array up to this wall. But again, I want to make sure I do it from the correct view. So if the front view is not what I want, it's probably the right. Yeah. So now you can see we've got these two. And I want to keep them going, although, yeah, no, that's not bad, until we get to this wall. So I'm going to guess this time around that it's maybe 10, maybe even less. So I'm going to make sure that this is my active view. And again, the active view is what determines the coordinate for the direction. So I'm going to say array. I'm going to pick this one and this one. I'm going to hit enter. And so now this one, for X, we only want 1 because we're going in the Y. And for the Y, I'm going to say 10. And for the Z, I'm going to say 1. Where did they go in here? I'm going to type in, again, making sure this is my active layer. Whoa. I'm going to type in 25.5 inches. And unfortunately, I'm not seeing them happen here. Looks like instead they went up on the Z-axis. Alright, so for some bizarre reason, even though I have reset my C-plane and my view, this thing still is not cooperating with my coordinate plane system. So I'm gonna have to, through trial and error, be smarter than the software. So I'm gonna do array again. I'm gonna click my two objects, and this time I'm gonna actually still use my X, even though theoretically it should have shifted to the Y. I'm gonna say 1 and 1. I'm gonna give my same 25.5 inches. And now, with 10 of them, I come pretty darn close to the wall. I'm happy with that. I'm going to hit enter. So the last thing to do is a Boolean difference. And okay, I think I can make it through this part. I'm going to come back in to double views. And whenever things are completely wonky, if you just come in to pan, zoom, and rotate, and you do zoom extents all, everything will get cleaned up. So you can either try and pick an edge of this, or you can just make a brand new one. I'm going to do the second part. I'm going to make a polyline. I'm going to start here. I'm going to keep going. Come on. Alright, I'm just going to end it here actually, and then I'll use extend. Just going to hit enter. I'm going to come from this direction. Alright, so now I can say extend. So I'm going to extend this and this. So that would be the, I don't trust that. Alright, I'm just going to hit enter. I'm going to do it a second time. Now this is my boundary, and this is the object. Now I just need to trim this. So this is my cutting object. Hit enter, and this is the bit I'm getting rid of. I'm just going to join them. So now I can extrude this up a tiny bit, just because it's easier with a closed poly surface. Like if I extruded this as a curve, I could use split, but I'd rather just use Boolean difference. Alright, so there we go. I'll click somewhere else. And now I'll click on that thing I just made. Nope, not that one. Actually, yeah, that is the one I just made, isn't it? There we go. Now I'm going to come up here. I'm going to extrude it. And I'm going to click anywhere else. I just want to make sure it goes through all of these. Now I can do my Boolean difference. I'm going to try that from the front side. I'm going to say Boolean difference. I'm going to grab all of these, hit enter. Now I'm going to come in and I'm going to pick this, hit enter. Alright, so now I just need to come back and delete these. We've got our shape. It wraps around. And if I come in here, back to your rendered, turn off my vertical grids because they're super annoying. And let's put everything else back on. Basement, windows, side beams, lateral beams, main floor, roof framing. And then we're getting there, right? We got our openings.